What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inside Post. This week, we have our updated top 10 3-year-old horses currently for the 2024 summer. What a weekend coming out of the Travers. Gotta update the top 10. Gotta take a look at these 3-year-olds yet again with some new horses coming into the top 10. Maybe a little shake-up at the top as well for our top horse contender. We'll see. Make sure to stick around. All right. So 150 subs away from 1,000. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. If you were watching this video, we have like 90% of you that watch that don't subscribe. So make sure to go down there, give us a subscribe, help us out, helps you out. If you turn on your notifications, you get all these videos alerted to your phone device, whatever you're watching on, that lets you know when we drop a new video on horse racing. Here we go. Number 10, a new horse entering the frame. Number 10, Most Wanted. Currently, I believe this is a Brad Cox horse out of Candy Ride. Looks really good. The speed in that Ellis Park Derby, his last victory, looked phenomenal. Kind of did it under the radar. We kind of don't watch Ellis Park, or we don't kind of do some of our picks at Ellis Park. We kind of stick to Saratoga, some of the bigger tracks. So kind of our loss, but we found this one here. Winning a big allowance race at Ellis and breaking its maiden at Churchill Downs early in the spring. This one looks really good. Kind of quiet on where this horse is going to go next, so hopefully we get to see this horse take a step forward. Would love to see it in the Pennsylvania Derby possibly, or setting up maybe for a Breeders' Cup race. We will see. Just make sure you take note of Most Wanted out of Candy Ride right now for a 3-year-old that has hit the Inside Post top 10 list. Number 9, sticking with Mystic Dan, getting a little bit of rest. Not sure where we're going to see him next. Again, maybe Pennsylvania Derby, or are we just going to get a complete layoff until the Breeders' Cup Classic? 8th in that Belmont Stakes. We didn't see him in the Jim Dandy. We didn't see him in the Travers. We haven't seen him yet since the Belmont, like rightfully so. He won the Kentucky Derby second in the Preakness. Kudos for those connections of what they've been able to accomplish this summer. Kudos for Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez on what they've been able to do on Mystic Dan and Torpedo Anna. Would love to see this horse run one more time before the Classic. I think he's could be a really good price horse in the Classic, and definitely probably a price horse in his next outing. Over $4 million earned. Again, look at those Triple Crown races, a first, a second, an 8th. I think if he runs in one of the Jim Dandy or even the Travers, he could easily run top 3, top 4 in there in one of those races. I just think he's the type of horse that was in pretty good form coming out of the Derby and obviously the Preakness. He just needed a little bit of rest. Obviously the Belmont was a little bit too much for him, but I think he's well rested now, and I can't wait to see where he's pointed to next. Number 8, Goodwood Dano, still on our top 10 list for this sprinter. However, ran 3rd in the Allen Jerkins behind Prince of Monaco and Domestic Product. That Jersey Shore was phenomenal. The Woody Stevens was phenomenal. And what he was able to do in the Saudi Derby was pretty phenomenal as well. Hopefully this horse gets back to it. Probably going to see one more prep race for him leading up to... Maybe we see him in the dirt mile or in the sprint. I think he's going to be really good. And probably after that 3rd place in the Allen Jerkins, he's going to be a pretty good price. And a horse that has a lot of speed for Derek Ryan. I think the connections could give him some time off. But I think we will see him probably one more time before the Breeders' Cup. But definitely a horse to keep in mind going into the Breeders' Cup weekend for sure. Number 7, of course, the horse that beat him in the Allen Jerkins, Domestic Product. This horse was 13th in the Kentucky Derby. Was kind of our long shot play for the Derby, however, just did not come into anything like we was hoping. Like the pedigree in here out of Practical Joke, 9-4 so far in his career. You can see that huge Dwyer win, and then the horse was kind of a sleeping secret in that Allen Jerkins coming out of the Dwyer. Just did not take a whole lot of money with Prince of Monaco and Goodwood Dano in there, but rightfully so. Klarovich stables. I mean, the horse ran huge in that Alan Jerkins. 67% in the top 3 for domestic product as well. So obviously have to take into consideration this horse on the top 5 or top 10 for these 3-year-olds. I believe he's earned almost 800,000, 729 as his earnings. A horse that looks really good, kind of going into the end of summer, leading into the fall. One that is prepping well for a couple of these big races leading into the Breeders' Cup. And probably, again, like most of these others, probably one more tune-up before we see him run on the Breeders' Cup card. Or after that, Alan Jerkins, and rightfully so, sets himself up for a pretty good Breeders' Cup race on the undercard. Number 6, Dragoon Guard. This one has been climbing up the top 10 leaderboard for us, and kind of a horse that we've always been interested in and been watching. Comes out of an allowance at Churchill Downs, did it really well. Look at that big old arrogant white horse, or gray, depending on how you want to classify him. 640 in earnings, Indiana Derby. Beat a somewhat weak field in there, goes to the West Virginia Derby. Wins there too, so he's won pretty easily and has not had much competition, but has ran some pretty good speed numbers and has done, rightfully so, winning in great form for his connections. However, he's yet to step into the real test of what these 3-year-olds have been doing all summer, so hopefully we see something as far as, is he going to run in the Pennsylvania Derby with the likes of some of these other hefty 3-year-olds that we've kind of talked about, possibly missing Dan, Sees the Gray may point to the Pennsylvania Derby as well. The speed figures have been off the charts, 106, 105 on the Equibase side. Currently, he has no plans of where he's going next in his horse profile, so we'll kind of be watching that one. So again, take note of this one. Once he tries these 3-year-olds that have been running in some big grade 1, grade 2 stakes races, Dragoon Guard could be a pretty good sleeper at a mid-level price to take a shot at in here. Next, number 5, Forever Young, kind of a forgotten horse. Obviously, 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, 1st in the UAE, and then 1st in the Saudi. Over $2 million in earning. I hope, like most of us probably are hoping, that this horse comes back for the Classic. It's going to be phenomenal if we get Dermasotogaki, Ushiba, Tesora, and we have Forever Young all running in the Classic. Just going to be a phenomenal race of horses from all over the world coming in here as these 3-year-olds. Hopefully we see him maybe get a prep in before coming to the Classic. I believe Dermasotogaki did not. So we may not see Forever Young. He may just be working up to the Classic. But this horse could be phenomenal. Coming back over here. Again, the connections may or may not run him back again before the Classic. But definitely one that's been said, rumored, or whatever to come for the Classic. Again, we could see a whole slew of Japanese horses shipping over for the Classic. Rightfully so, like I said, Dermasotogaki, Ushiba, Tesora, Forever Young, all looking really good coming in here for this Classic. And I think Forever Young is a top tier 3-year-old for sure. And hopefully we get him to stick around. I kind of wish the horse would have stuck around for the Triple Crowns, but we get it. Connections wanted to get the horse back home to their facilities, check him out. But from everything that I've seen, all is good and hopefully pointing to the Classic. All right. Now we're into our top 5. Number 4, Dorok. 4th in the Travers, kind of had everything go his way. I just think just boom, boom, out of the Belmont, out of the Haskell, the Travers, definitely running into the likes of Sierra Leone, Torpedo, Anna, and Fierceness, was just a little bit too much for him. Rightfully so, it was a tough race. Coming from the outside, tried to get the lead, had a challenge, batting down Fierceness, Torpedo, Anna. Kind of a horse that kind of wanted the lead or kind of needed the lead to basically wire, set that pace. Ends up faltering to 4th. I mean, still ran a big race. I mean, look back, Belmont Stakes winner, Haskell winner. Just a phenomenal summer yet again for Dorok. Especially 10th in the Kentucky Derby, kind of a forgotten horse out of that. And then fires 2 really good grade 1 stakes races, and then falters in the Travers. No big issues there. I think the horse rebounds. Could take some time off and go train for the Classic is probably the best setup for him right now. And rightfully so. I think he could be a definite contender in the Classic for sure. Probably going to have one of the better Classics that we've seen with some loaded three-year-olds and running against some of these 4-year-olds. It's going to be phenomenal if we get all these horses to run. All right, number 3. Sierra Leone. Mr. Consistency, the board hitter. However, cannot find the winner's circle whatsoever. I feel like if it was a 3-horse race, he's going to finish 2nd or 3rd. Coming out 2nd in the Kentucky Derby, 3rd in the Belmont, 2nd in the Jim Dandy, 3rd in the Travers. 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. So obviously his next race, he's going to run 2nd, right? We'll see. I feel like he definitely needs some time off. Let's just save it, go work on some stuff, maybe change up some tactics, maybe change up some jockey, I don't know, to get this horse to the winner's circle every time that he's raced. Since the Derby, we've talked him up. You know, this is his race, this is his pace. He's going to have plenty of pace to run into. He's going to have everything he's needed to run into. And he just never can get to the wire as the first place horse. He just can't pass those last 1-2 horses to get himself to the winner's circle. It's just, you know, now speed builds horses, and it's hard to be a closer. It seems like these 3-year-olds are horses that, you know, need to lead, have to push the pace or have to set the pace to get themselves to the winner's circle. And Sierra Leone has just struggled being that horse that came from off the pace. I thought he did a little bit better in the Travers on not waiting. He just ran into 2 monsters that day of fierceness and obviously Torpedo Anna the filly. So rightfully so. I see him taking some time off probably again, preparing for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And again, a horse that's going to get a lot of buzz because he's going to have the same pace scenario that he's had all summer. It's just, is he going to be the horse that wins the race anytime? Anytime in the remaining of his 3-year-old season or going into his 4-year-old season, will he ever win a race? 3rd, 2nd seems to be his consistency. Okay, we got 2 horses left. Obviously, you're probably thinking, what do we have up here? And our top 2, just prepare, and it's kind of gonna be crazy. So make sure to comment down below how crazy we are. Number 2 is Fierceness. Yes, he ran a bang-up race in the Travers, totally got his race in there and was definitely on his game. First in the Jim Dandy, same situation there. Best horse in that field, definitely on his game. Johnny V set him up really nice and was able to run the race that, you know, we've seen Fierceness run when he's won all of his other previous races. So we just didn't know what Fierceness we were going to get for the Travers because he's been on, off. So now we'd be able to fire 2 times off a short rest. 15th in the Kentucky Derby. He's number 2 just because, you know, he'd had that time off from the Derby. Didn't run in the Preakness, didn't run in the Belmont. Comes in the Jim Dandy off of some horses that have been running several times before. Comes off of the rest. Easily won the Jim Dandy, rightfully so. Fires back in the Travers, pretty good odds. But again, would like to see the horse, you know, win one of the big Triple Crown races to be considered top 3-year-old. However, going into the Classic, obviously he's probably going to be favorited in that Classic feat, and I think he will train up as well. There was talk that he may go to a race in September, but I just feel like depending on how he comes out of the Travers, may just take that time off yet again and just kind of save it for the Classic. So yes, that leaves our number 1 and still the Grizzly, number 1, Torpedo Anna. Just amazing what this filly's able to do. I mean, she barely loses to Fierceness where she wasn't even supposed to be running against the boys. Basically, the world had to pressure Kenny McPeak to run her against the boys. Her class of horses, what she's been running against, she's been able to blow out of the water. Nobody can even hold a candle to her in her own division. She had to step in against the boys and do that. Rightfully so, she should be the number 1 horse on any board, whether she finishes 1st, 3rd, 2nd, whatever in that race. Clearly the top horse in her field, and rightfully so, the top horse against the boys. Throw out one race. Maybe we get lucky. We see her come back into the Classic. Doubt it. But why not run against them one more time just for shit's sake, and let's see what happens. Phenomenal. Again, second in that Travers, first in the Coaching Club, first in the Acorn, first in the Oaks. Over $1 million in earnings, probably over $2 million now. Just phenomenal what she's been able to do. She won her top 3-year-old race where Fierceness kind of finished 15th. She wins the Acorn, wins the Coaching Club. She's done everything right that all the fillies, are supposed to do. And she comes against the boys and gets beat out by a nose. An extra, 10 feet. She beats out Fierceness. I mean, she was coming, rightfully so. It was just the perfect race for Fierceness. I mean, whatever you want to say, he's a colt, she's a filly. She just didn't have it. But she was there, rightfully so. She definitely earned that. She got respect, and obviously keeping her at the top on this number 1 top 10 board is right thing to do. She's just all class, top horse coming in, facing the boys. Just phenomenal. Filly that it's kind of been great for horse racing. Great connections. McPeak and Hernandez, what they're able to do with this special filly. So there's our top 10 horses, 3-year-old horses, leaving it off with Torpedo Anna as our number 1, beating out Fierceness just by a nose. So again, like I said, 80% of you that have watched aren't subscribing, so make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button, get our numbers up, turn on your notifications to get all of our horse racing content notified right to your cell phone or to your computer when we throw out these horse racing videos for the weekend racing. Thanks for watching and have a great week.